when you're working and you're trying to make things happen for your family, for yourself. But life keeps hitting you relentlessly when everything is telling you to quit. What keeps you going?
I want to remind y'all of the power of the mind. You can think your way into stress. You can think your way into misery, frustration. But if you change your mind, it'll change your life. You just have to decide in your mind what you want it to be.
You just have to wake up. You just have to break that negative spirit. You have to break through.
As we begin to look at what we want, what's going to be crucial for you is to look toward the future, and every time you find yourself saying that you can't do something, putting yourself down, being negative about you and the possibilities for you, you've got to literally catch yourself. And you've got to affirm to yourself in the process, hey, no, I can make it. There's some way this can happen for me.
It's the what if I can pull off a fucking miracle. What if I can become someone that no one thinks I can be?
You've got to say yes to your life. You've got to say yes. Yes to my dreams. Yes to me. I can make it. Yes, I can. Doesn't matter how many failures I've made. Doesn't matter how many mistakes I've endured. Doesn't matter about my defeats. Doesn't matter about what I've done. Yes, yes. I don't care about the fact I'm in a hole now. Doesn't matter about where I am. Yes. The last chapter to my life has not been written yet. If you judge me now, you'll judge me prematurely. I haven't exposed all my stuff yet. I'm still in the process of transforming my life. I'm still in the process of becoming. Yes! Stand up for your dreams. Stand up for what you want in your life. Decide that your life is so meaningful to you, that you love you and you love life so much that you're going to stand up for something you want. You have miracle working power in your life right now, but you've got to work on yourself. You've got to develop yourself. You've got to talk to yourself day in and day out, selling yourself on you and on your potentials. And you've got to know that you are worth all of your effort.
There is no mistake that you can't rebound from. There is no mistake that you can't get back up from. You better be resilient. I don't care what happened. You can bounce back up again and make it happen.
What I've gone through will not define me. The best is yet to come. I'm gonna fight to the finish, because giving up is not an option. Being poor is not an option. Being set out in the cold is not an option. No, you're busy rebuilding. You are busy recalculating and making a radical change in yourself and asking yourself, what is it about me that I must change? You want to be committed to taking care of yourself.
As you go into action, as you hold that thought in consciousness persistently, you will begin to realize powers and abilities you have. You will realize you have miracle working power in you.
When you're a warrior, you're willing to fight for your dream. You're willing to realize that you will fail your way to success. You're willing to make it okay if people don't like you or disagree with you. You're willing to fight even though the odds are stacked against you. You are willing to have a spirit of optimism when you've lost everything materialistically, but if you got a pulse, if you woke up this morning, when you're a warrior, you're willing to fight.
You fight, and you either win or you die trying.
Good morning everyone, my name is Sarna Madani and I with my friends Dewi Sitia Luman Tobing, Felicia Angelina and Sergio Rezi Rossi Hombing will explain about public sector financial accounting techniques. The table of contents in this chapter is the first budget accounting, the second one is commitment accounting, and then fund accounting, cash accounting, accrual accounting, and research study. Okay, the definition about budget accounting. So, budget accounting techniques is an accounting technique that presents the budget amount with the actual amount and it is recorded and prepared. Budget accounting is widely used by public sector organizations, especially governments, which record and present operating accounts in the same format and parallel to their budgets. Budgetary accounting refers to the practice of many public sector organizations, particularly the government, in an effort to present their operating accounts using the same format as their budgets. The purpose of this practice is to emphasize the role of the budget in the planning, control, and accountability cycle. The idea behind this budget accounting is for convenience. Difficulties usually arise because different organizations usually adopt different reporting formats. This is due to the fact that the intrinsic differences between services provided in different organizations are reflected in their budget. More meaningful results can be obtained by creating budget accounts that are classified in a certain way that is specific to certain service, but this leads to non-uniformity in the format of budget accounting. There is a significant problem that organizations of the same type and providing the same service may be treated differently, even though budget accounting has been adopted by them. This arises because there are two problems. The first is aggregation level. A good example where the level of aggregation adopted by budget accounts affect their comparability is in local governments. One authority may publish its budget accounts for education service as a whole. Another shortcoming of budget accounting lies in how often or how intensively the financial statement compare the budget with what is actually happening and explain the differences. Many organizations create budget accounts along with budgets but only compare the two globally.
Hi everyone, in this part I'm gonna present and explain to you guys about commitment accounting, which is the second technique of public sector financial accounting. So commitment accounting is an accounting system that recognizes transactions and records them when orders are issued. This technique of accounting can be used together, both on the basis of cash and accrual accounting, since it makes no sense to use commitment accounting for employee expenses. Accounting commitment only covers a small part of the organization budget. As a consequence, the commitment accounting is only a subsystem in the organization main accounting system. Nevertheless, this accounting commitment can be very important, especially for budget holder. And then, commitment accounting recognizes transaction. The organization has committed to carry out this transaction. This means that transactions are not recognized when cash is received or disbursed, nor when invoices are received or sent at an earlier time. For example, we can suppose a manager order 100 boxes of chalk. This manager has determined which supplier to choose, and the current price of this chalk is, for example, 5,000 rupiah per box. When an order is met and sent to the supplier for 100 boxes of chalk at a price of 5,000 per box, the manager debit the load. The next one, there are various factors that affect the number of invoices that will be received, such as, for example, the supplier doesn't have 100 boxes, or the price letter change, or the manager incorrect price assumption. So the debit doesn't go to the supplier, but to the order account as follow as in the slide. You can see in the slide, chalk 500,000 in debit and order to supplier 500,000 in credit. When the invoice for the chalk has been received, The journal becomes ordered to supplier 500,000 in debit and payable to supplier 500,000 in credit. If goods delivered or the invoice amount is more than the amount recorded in an order, we should make correction journal. For example, it turns out that the price of the child is not 5,000 rupiah, but the price of the child is 5,500 rupiah. Then the journal entries is as ordered to supplier 500,000 in debit, child 50,000 in debit, and payable to supplier 550,000 in credit. So, by using this system, the organization recognizes the order as a commitment to incurring expenses and record the record automatically. So I think that's all from me about commitment commitment accounting. I hope you guys can understand what I already explained. The next submaterial will be explained by my partner, Sergio Reggioresi. Thank you, guys.
Hi, my name is Sergio. We're gonna learn about the fund accounting. So, check it out. Okay, our topic now is about the fund accounting. So, the fund accounting is an accounting system for recording resources whose use has been limited by the donor, grant authority, or governing agency, or other individuals or organizations, or by law. And then it emphasizes accountability rather than profitability. Akuntansi dana ini tidak digunakan, itu lebih mementingkan akuntabilitas daripada profitabilitasnya. And then it consists of a self-balancing set of accounting and it's reported. Accounting, but it is reported become unrestricted, temporarily unrestricted, and temporarily restricted, and permanently restricted. Then next, there is some kind of unrestricted funds. There are 5, and then first is general fund. General fund is the minimum fund for unrestricted and current and non-current assets and liabilities. And then designated fund. This designated fund is about the specific purpose. This fund is used for the specific purpose. Example, like we wanna build a mosque or wanna build a church. So this fund will be used, designated fund. Memiliki tujuan yang spesifik dan itu tetap tidak terbatas. And then about trading fund. Trading fund is we have like shops or outlet for collecting fund, but the fund is not like for our profitability because this is used by government. So the keuntungan yang didapat dari outlet tersebut atas penjualan dari outlet tersebut will be used by the government to stimulate untuk meningkatkan atau untuk melakukan tujuan dari the government itself or the organization itself. And then about the factory fund. The factory fund is non-current assets and liabilities. Non-current assets, like we know that land or building and etc. And then next is current fund. This current fund is discretion of the organization's governing board. It can be discretion of the organization's governing board. And then next is restricted fund or dana yang dibatasi. There are 5. permanent, temporary, annuity, and life income, agency of custodian, and current fund. Permanent is they have agreement with the donor to maintain intact in perpetuity or until a specific future date. This fund is restricted, but it will be permanent until the specific future date, or intinya dia sampai masa yang akan datang, tetapi dia bahkan memiliki perjanjian bahwasanya itu akan bakal terjadi permanen. And the next is temporary. Like we can see in here, at a future time or after a specified future event, the endowment become available. Jadi dia tersedianya sementara at a future time or after a specified future event. And then the third is annuity and life income. The organization has a beneficial interest, but it's not the sole beneficiary. So fund that that organization get not only beneficial for the organization itself, but also to others, like because in here is not the sole beneficiary. And the next is agency of a custodian. Help to account for resources before they are dispersed according to the donor's instructions. So the agency of custodian ini maksudnya itu the fund is used according to the donor's instructions. Jadi dia mengikuti instruksi dari pendonornya tersebut, pemberi dananya tersebut. And then next is current fund. Subject to restrictions assigned by donors or grantors. And then next, there are two types of funds in public sector organizations: expendable funds and non-expendable funds. Expendable funds, like that the funds that can be expend, dana yang dapat dibelanjakan dan dana yang tidak dapat dibelanjakan. Expendable funds used to record asset values, debt, changes in net assets, and balances of funds that can be spent. And then non-expendable funds record income, costs, assets, liabilities, and capital for profit-seeking activities. So that's all from me. Next will be presented by Felicia Angelina. Goodbye.
Next, I will explain about cash accounting. In the application of cash accounting, income is recorded when cash is received and expenses are recorded when cash is issued. So, the cash basis method will be record every transaction with the correct nominal amounts. It means that we will journalize only the first payment that we are going to pay. And then for your information, GAAP doesn't recommend recording with this cash basis method because it cannot reflect actual performance. With cash basis, an activity cannot be measured properly. For example, cash received from loans will be recorded as income, so it not as account receivable like in PPLK that we have learned before. In sector account, public accounting itself, the cash basis method used with government financial statements is the cash basis for recognizing revenues, expenditures, and financing in budget realization report. Here, I'm going to explains one of the problem examples. So we have on June 1st, 2015, PT Bahari paid the building rent of 30 million for 3 months. So as I said before, this cash basis method only recorded the first payment. So only on June 1st, 2015, will be recorded rent expense for 30 million in debit side and cash for 30 million in credit side, and that's all. And one more, the example is if we pay if no I mean if we order something on June 1st, 2015, but we haven't paid it, then the thing that we order will arrive at maybe June 5th, 2015. So we'll pay that cash, and the journal entries will be recorded on June 5th, 2015. Next is about accrual accounting. Accrual accounting is considered more reliable to use than cash accounting method. Because this method is a method of accounting records which uses the concept of actual recognition. So we will record all the activity that occurred. In public sector accounting itself, the accrual method recognizes revenue, expenses, asset, debts, and equity. Also recognize income, expenditure, and financing in reporting budget execution based on the basis set out in the APBN or APBD. The application of the accrual basis method in accounting basically is to determine and know the amount of costs used to perform public service and determine the price of services charged to the public. And this is different from the purpose applying for the accrual basis in the private sector, which is used to find out how much the profit will be generated from the revenues and costs incurred by the company. But for the public sector is not for a profit. So here's some problem example. The example is the same with the cash accounting method before. So on June 1st, 2015, PT Bahari paid the building rent of 30 million for 3 months too. So the journal entries will be June 1st, 2015, but the account title is different. Before we use rent expense for 30 million, but in here in debit we use prepaid rent 30 million in debit and cash 30 million in credit. The debit entries is an expense which is still considered as a part of the company's asset because for 3 months later we haven't experienced to use that brand. So as I said before, we haven't experienced to use that brand. We need to make some adjusting journal. The adjusting journal usually will be recorded at the end of the month because the rent is for 3 months. So from June, July, and August, we will record that and we will make the adjusting journal. So usually this adjusting journal will made at monthly books when uh, when we make closing journal. So here is the journal. As you can see, on June 30, 2015, we recorded rent expense in debit side for 10 million and prepaid rent for 10 million because we have used 10 million, which is 30 million divided by 3 months. We have used that for 1 month, so it's 10 million. And it's the same until August 31st, 2015. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, the last one is research study. So our group took article from Muhammad Indra, Yuda, Kusuma, and Fuad about analysis of factor affecting the level application of accounting to the government. There are some points that we got from our research study. The first one is the effect of financial staff education level on accounting implementation level accrual. So connection positive and significant relationship between the education level of accounting staff and the level of compliance accrual accounting. Then the research by ODA, which showed that when received education at a higher level, organizational staff are expected to be more appreciate the benefit and use of new accounting technique and also to promote implementation in government organization. The second point that we got is the effect of financial staff training on the level of accrual accounting implementation. According to Truwhite, adequate training has a powerful effect, positive impact on the successful adoption of accounting system as an understanding of how to designing, implementing, and using the system in increasing. The third point that we got is the effect of information technology quality on the level of accrual accounting implementation. According to Truwhite, shows that organizations with technology more advanced information may be more able to apply the new management accounting system than organizations with less sophisticated information system because of processing costs and lower measurement. The next point is the effect of consultant support on the level of accrual accounting application. There is a large amount of government accounting literature that describes management consultant as an epistemic community of specialists, knowledge, and expertise. Their assistance and support is deemed necessary in the current climate of NPM reform. Choose management consultants have been identified as key lever in the process reforming management practice in the public sector and facilitating the implementation process as implementation technical support and also as a source of knowledge. The 5 point that we got in our research study is effect of previous experience in running a task basis toward accrual toward the level of application of accrual accounting. The application of the accrual accounting system is implemented in stage. In the explanation of the regulation government number 27 of 2010, accrual-based SAP must be implemented immediately by every entity. However, for entities that are not ready to implement accrual-based SAP can use cash-based SAP toward accrual until the deadline for full accrual basis implementation. The next point is the effect of leadership educational background on the level of accounting application accrual. The result of previous research on organizational reform so that leadership with a dominant administrative background may be more inclined to advocate and support promising administrative innovation for managerial efficiency and effectiveness. Furthermore, different results are shown by Stamatiadis et al. 2009 research which states that there is no significant effect between the educational background of the leadership with the level of accrual accounting competence. And the last one is the influence of work unit size on the level of accrual accounting application. The variable size of public organizations has also been included in other studies previous government accounting as an important factor influencing the rate of adopting management. However, the effect of the size variable on the rate of adoption is not clear. But in particular, there are several previous studies that noted a positive relationship between significant relationship, and even studies in where a negative relationship was observed. This study assumes that larger work unit in terms of number of employees more likely to have implemented an accrual accounting system. The possible reason for that is that larger organizations have access to relatively larger resources to introduce and implement new system and technique. Another reason is that as a larger organization, the need to handle larger quantities and the quality of the information improved to the point where the introduction of a management system was deemed necessary. So I think that's all from our group about public sector financial accounting technique. I hope you guys can understand all of the material that we already explained to you guys. And we are apologize if there is any mistake while presenting our material. Thank you for your attention, guys. Bye-bye.
Kalau saya melihat pasti ada dua sisi, ya. Sisi pertama, karena ketentuan yang mengharuskan begitu, kita nggak boleh lari dari persoalan itu. Kalau zaman dulu pemerintah Kota Semarang sebenarnya ada dua pilihan kan, boleh pakai accrual atau boleh pakai sistem yang lama. Nah, godaannya waktu itu juga sangat kencang, karena di tahun 2010 pada saat kita mulai mendapat kepercayaan, kemudian 2011 laporan keuangan kita belum mendapat WTP. Nah, godaan itu terus muncul. Pak, kenapa harus pakai sistem ini, Pak? Harusnya. Nah, tapi calon ini tergantung daripada komitmen kepala daerah. Saya sampaikan, yang membuat tidak mendapatkan WTP pasti bukan sistemnya ini. Tapi karena ada rekomendasi-rekomendasi yang tidak ditindaklanjuti oleh BPK. Nah, kemudian rekomendasi ini coba kita penuhi, kita tindaklanjuti. Dan alhamdulillah 2013, 2014, 2012, 2013 kita sudah dapat predikat WTP. Kemudian mudah-mudahan tahun ini juga begitu. Nah, sekarang pertanyaan tadi, kira-kira apa yang membuat kepala daerah harus memakai sistem ini? Pasti ketentuannya mengharuskan begitu. Kita tidak boleh lari dari situ. Yang kedua, dengan memakai ini sebenarnya kepala daerah akan lebih dimudahkan di dalam melihat posisi kas maupun neraca sesungguhnya daripada sebuah wilayah, yaitu kota atau kabupaten. Kalau mereka sudah terbiasa memakai scroll, pasti lebih enak cara penyajian maupun cara membacanya jadi lebih enak. Ya, karena ada hal yang lebih terbuka, transparan, mereka jadi lebih berani dan lebih agresif untuk bisa masuk ke wilayah ini. Mereka mengatakan, wah, kalau pemerintahannya transparan, pasti kita juga tidak akan ada ekonomi biaya tinggi. Kita pasti juga akan, kalau harus bayar sesuatu, ya bayarnya sesuai dengan ketentuan yang berlaku. Nah, psikologi semacam itu ternyata sangat berpengaruh terhadap masuknya investasi di Kota Semarang. Yang tidak terduga, mungkin salah satu indikatornya itu mereka kemudian berbondong-bondong masuk ke Kota Semarang. Mereka investasi di banyak hal, mulai dari garment, furniture, ada juga yang ada di properti, di bidang, terutama di sektor perdagangan dan jasa, angka investasi yang masuk ke Kota Semarang meningkat. Ya, yang jelas kita sangat meyakini semangatnya bahwa posisi kita di pemerintahan ini adalah bagian daripada amanah untuk melayani masyarakat, dan masyarakat sekarang sangat menuntut bagaimana kemudian pemerintahan khususnya di daerah, di kota ini, pemerintah Kota Semarang bisa melayani masyarakat dengan baik dalam hal percepatan, keterbukaan, kemudian hal progresif pemerintah dalam melakukan proses percepatan pembangunan. Nah, kalau sistemnya berjalan dengan baik, keuangannya juga bisa dikelola dengan baik, maka ini akan bisa menumbuhkan kepercayaan masyarakat kepada pemerintah, dalam hal ini pemerintah Kota Semarang. Semakin besar kepercayaan masyarakat terhadap pemerintahan ini, maka masyarakat juga akan mampu melakukan apa saja untuk kemajuan kota ini. Nah, ini namanya sebuah proses percepatan pembangunan yang bersinergi. Masing-masing berpartisipasi, masyarakatnya berpartisipasi, pemerintahnya juga terus melakukan upaya-upaya untuk proses percepatan pembangunan. Yang paling penting adalah membangun kepercayaan. Membangun kepercayaan tidak hanya kepada dunia usaha, tapi juga masyarakat secara keseluruhan. Dengan kita mengelola keuangan secara terbuka, masyarakat, baik masyarakat kota maupun masyarakat luar, pasti akan semakin percaya dengan pemerintahan yang ada di kota.